Um, All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Course Creator Community Podcast. I'm your host, Jono, and I am super excited because we're speaking about a super hot topic today, ChatGPT. Now, I'm assuming most people listening to this podcast have probably seen it around, probably seen some people post about it, probably even had a bit of a play around with it. There may be some people that haven't, so we'll do a quick introduction and let it know what it is, and then we'll kind of get into how to use it. And because it's such a hot topic, definitely the hottest topic in the space at the moment, I'm like, I need to get an expert on here. I need to get someone that, is a weapon at sales, a weapon at marketing, and really, really good at chat GPT to speak about on this podcast. And I found the perfect person, and I'm like, this person's awesome. She's perfect for it. That person was actually busy today, so she couldn't make the podcast, but that's okay. I've got my friend Claudia on to speak about it. Claudia, how are you?
You set me up for that.
How are you, Claudia?
I'm going well. How are you?
Awesome. Yes, I'm good. Now, for those of you listening, Claudia, she's been on the podcast before, good friend of mine. She works with me in my fitness education online business. She does all the sales and marketing there. She does the email sales, the Facebook ads, sales calls, manages the sales team, and is closed hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe even millions of dollars in that business there. So she knows what she's talking about when it comes to sales and marketing. And she actually introduced me to ChatGPT. So on a serious note, she does know what she's talking about.
I actually didn't want to tell Jono about this. I was like, I feel like I should hide this from him and use it to generate all the Facebook copy, all the email marketing, and just not tell him.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't have noticed. No, I won't use that joke. But all right, let's get into it, Claudia. Most people listening to this, I think, do know what ChatGPT is, or at least have an idea about it, but there might be some people that don't. So do you just want to spend like a minute or two and give us like an overview? What is it?
Okay, so ChatGPT is a state-of-the-art language processing model developed by the OpenAI. It's based on like a neutral network. So it's pretty much it's trained on a large amount of text, right? Data to learn patterns and like structure of natural language. Once trained, the model can generate human-like responses. So that's pretty much what OpenAI is. And I can see your face is like,
what the hell did that mean? And I felt you just read off something.
Yeah, and I just read off what ChatGPT generated for me. I was like, hey, can you tell me what you are? And this is the response it gave me. So does that give you any indication of what that is?
I was more clear of what it was before that definition.
Okay, cool. So I was like, this doesn't make sense to someone who doesn't know what this is. So I asked ChatGPT, I'm like, hey, can you revise this in a 5th grade reading level? And it said ChatGPT is a type of computer program that can communicate with people using text. It can understand what people say and respond in a way that makes sense. It's kind of like a robot, but instead of talking with a voice, it talks with words. Okay. It's really good at answering and understanding questions, and it can have a conversation with you. Think of it like a conversation with a computer instead of a person, but it's pretty smart and can understand. Actually, I would say it's sometimes smarter than humans and can understand and respond in a natural, like human language.
Yeah, got it. I 100% agree. It's smarter than some humans.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that was much better. Especially the smarter than most humans. Obviously, not smarter than me, but like people like you, it's definitely smarter than.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah. But yeah, that was good, breaking it down to the 5th grade level for me to understand. So, all right, that gives us a bit of a basis, but still, I think it's going to people listening to this, Claudia, that's like, okay, that's still a bit of mumbo jumbo. How the hell does it help me? Now, everyone listening to this is going to be a course creator. Maybe let's start that side of things. Can it help you create a course?
Absolutely. So it can't create a course in the like where it can create like PowerPoint slides and stuff. But what it can do is you can actually ask it, let's say, I'm just going to keep it really simple, sales. You want to create a sales course. What you can
I love how that's the course you had all the courses in the world, like how to play the violin, how to learn piano, learn Spanish. Claudia's course is a sales course.
Okay, so let's say you want to do a sales course, and you're like, okay, what should I put in this course? And you don't really know. You're like, okay, what should I put? You might Google it, but what you can do is go on ChatGPT and be like, hey, can you help me create an outline for my online course around sales? Give me 10 modules. So that's the basic version of what you want to do. And do you want me to expand on that a little, like how you can take that further?
Let's spend a minute there, and then we'll go expand further in that. Okay. So I think that's a great explanation. When Claudia first told that to me, I was kind of like, yeah, but Claudia, I could just Google that. What's the difference with this and Google? I could just go in Google and be like, oh, what are the top 10 sales things? The difference I found with ChatGPT is it gives you that specific answer. Like, yes, I could type that in Google, and maybe someone's written a blog that says, hey, if you want to do a sales course, here are some sample modules. Maybe they have, and maybe it's not specific, and maybe I can get some ideas, but ChatGPT will actually give you the answer there. So for those people listening that are like, yeah, but I could just Google that. You could, but like the amount of times I've tried to Google something, I have to scroll through all these blogs and questions that don't make sense and whatnot to maybe find an answer. ChatGPT gives it to you straight away. But let's go deeper on that, Claudia. Like, might be people listening to this and they're like, yeah, okay, they've given me some ideas, but okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, sorry. Let's go a step before this. How much does ChatGPT cost at the moment?
It's free, but from knowledge, I think they will charge for this once it's out of beta, because they're just in a preview mode at the moment, just to try to like research and learn. But I'm pretty sure they will charge for this because they charge for the images, from my understanding.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So for those people listening, if you're thinking, oh, Claudia's just trying to sell us something, yes, she probably will at the end of the podcast, but she's not trying to sell you ChatGPT at least. Like the software is for free. You can go on there and that's what I would recommend for everyone as well. Like before, if you're thinking of hating on it, like at least go on there and have a muck around. It's free and whatever. But anyway, so that's a good base, Claudia, but it's pretty basic. We've got some module ideas. Can it do more than that, or? So
how do I refine this a little bit more? Okay, create a sales course with 10 different modules actually, I don't think you can do current, with trending topics around sales. Then what it's going to do, it's now not going to do like basic stuff. It's going to be like, okay, these are the most popular topics around sales. I'm going to tell, like ChatGPT is going to tell me what that is. Now I know people actually want it because ChatGPT is smarter than like most humans. If I ask Jono what to put in it, he probably could tell me, but ChatGPT will actually have that data. It will actually be trending. He'll have more knowledge than Jono.
Yeah, mine's an opinion. ChatGPT's is more data based.
Cool.
Awesome. All right. Anything else? So okay, we can get some rough ideas of modules. We can get trending topics to be as our modules. Anything else that can do in terms of helping us create a course?
And then what you can do there is, okay, to take that further, go in module 1, please write me 300 words, like maybe not 300 words. Please write me the first PowerPoint slide, module 1. So actually write this for you. You probably have to edit it because I'm not sure about the copyright stuff of it. Like, you don't want to have the same sales course as 10 other salespeople, right? You want different sales courses. So I can actually write the modules for you, and then if it writes the do you want to expand on that at all, Jono?
Yeah. I'll spend a minute there and go there. So, and actually we'll go deeper as well, because I think even with the module ideas, it can even give us the names for it, right? Because you might be like, all right, cool, here are the modules. Hey, can you give this a fancier name? Can you give this what's the word I'm looking for? A appealing name, whatever it may be. So you can name it there. But yeah, in terms of like the actual course, I'll give it to it in a few different examples. So let's run with that sales as an idea, right? And let's say module 1 is email marketing as an example, or email sales, whatever you want to call it, right? You might use that example Claudia said, where you might say, hey, ChatGPT, can you write a 300-word, let's call it a blog, or 300-word chapter or whatever you want to call it, on email marketing, right? And that'll produce that for you. And then you, as the course creator, now you've got your base. You'll obviously read through it because, especially as Claudia mentioned, and actually let's go back because it's probably a good thing to talk about as well. The limitation to ChatGPT is everyone gets the same answer. So let's say I'm creating a sales course. Let's say Claudia's on the other side of the world, also creating a sales course, and we've both got the same idea to use ChatGPT. If we just followed those prompts Claudia said, we're both going to have the exact same course. And like, why would someone do mine or Claudia's? Should we actually? I might ask you that question, Claudia. Let's even spend a minute there, because we'll use that example and then we'll speak about the differences. So what you could do as a course creator, that could plug your course content. You've now got, 300, 500 words, whatever it is. You can then use that. And courses don't even need to be PowerPoints, maybe they can be, but even if they're not,
it could just be filming.
Yeah, but even still, your course might just be written work. You might just use ChatGPT to create all the written work there, and there's your course. Or alternatively, you might use that to create the PowerPoints. You might be like, right, I've got a 500-word blog. Let me go and create my PowerPoints based on that there. Or you might even get ChatGPT to do it. Great. Hey, ChatGPT, based on that 500-word blog that you just wrote, can you put together what slide 1 of the PowerPoint will be? Can you put together slide 2, slide 3, slide 4, and then you record it? So that's what you can do there. But yeah, my question there, Claudia, like, that's great, but I can do that. And then there's one of my competitors, some asshole on the other side of the world, that's done the exact same thing. What are your take on that? Is it that valuable then if everyone can plug it in and do the same thing?
This is what I would say. Like, you don't really want to plug and play what they have. You want to make it your own, but you can add prompts to that. So like, you can be like, hey, can you rewrite this with some humor and use free jokes about how salespeople are very what's the word?
Sleazy.
Sleazy.
Or confident.
And how
confident.
this type of sales that I'm teaching you is not sleazy. Yeah, like, someone else on the other side or might think that too, but it's going to be less generic. The more stuff you can ask that's specific, it's less likely someone else will plug and play that too, right?
Gotcha.
You add like free jokes about salespeople being sleazy, and then also revise this in a 5th grade level, so it's simple to digest with dot points. So maybe now you can use the dot points, and then you can expand on it with your own knowledge, right?
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Let me summarize that. So, because I think there's levels to that as well.
Yeah.
So let's even use that. Let's say I've got my course, and let's say Claudia is that asshole on the other side of the world that's got the same the same, or someone's got to be one and the other. So they're the two things there. We both do a plug and play. Claudia might say, hey, ChatGPT, can you rewrite this and add humor to it? Now it's different to what I've got. Now, ideally with me, I might plug it in a different way. So I might say, look, instead of, what's another thing I could say, Claudia? Instead of saying, add humor to it, what could I say? Maybe the opposite. So what was that? Sorry, what were you going to say?
Make it enticing and get to the point very quickly.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. There we go. So I might be a bit more to the point. Hey, ChatGPT, that's great. I was even going to say formal, hey, but even like, make it enticing, whatever. So now Claudia's is a bit more funny. Mine's a bit more enticing. Already it's a little bit different, but then we can go deeper again. Claudia can say, hey, rewrite this at a 5th grade level, right? Because that's her target audience. I might say, hey, rewrite this at a grade 12th level, because maybe I'm selling to more that kind of people, So now all of a sudden, even though it's a similar idea, Claudia's is a bit funnier, mine's a bit more enticing, hers is pitched at a 5th grade level, mine's pitched at a 12th grade level. All of a sudden, it's even more different again. And then we can go further still. Claudia mentioned specific prompts there. Hey, can you mention 3 specific jokes there on this topic here? Right? I might do the equivalent over here. Hey, mention 3 stats, and also might be country-based. Hey, mention 3 stats and use Australian-based stats. Claudia might say, hey, use 3 stats and make them American-based stats, whatever. So we can differentiate it there. So I think that's great there. Anything else on the creation side of things, Claudia?
Yeah. I guess like when you use ChatGPT, think about what you're already doing. Like, what's your thought process when you're writing content, writing a course, and tell ChatGPT, instead of just like asking it a single prompt, actually be very specific. Like, if the question can be like 3 sentences, 4 sentences, because the more specific you can be, the better it will. You can even go like, hey, tell a story in this course about.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. And then it could be your own personal story, because no one's going to have that, but it's just going to write it in a base where you can now edit it. So it's just like, I do believe this will make humans stupider, but it's
Yeah.
gonna make us ask better questions to
Yeah.
get a better answer.
We know what's funny. What's funny? I think this is going to make humans stupider. I don't even think that's the correct grammar. I think I think this is going to
It's
make
gonna make
humans
humans
more stupid. So I think Claudia's been using this software enough. So he's in evolution. If you use this software, you're gonna use terms like that. But no, but you know what? I see where you're coming from with that, and I agree with it to an extent. I think it can make some people. I think if you're lazy, it can make you stupider, right? Because if you're just like, oh, I'm not going to figure this out on my own, I'm just going to type something in here and get the answer. Yeah, okay, but that'll only get you so far. I think in the online world and in life in general, I think the people that are going to win are the people that can be creative with AI. I think if you're just trying to do it on your own, it's going to be super hard. And if you're just doing stuff with AI, it's going to be super generic. But if you can get creative with AI, that's where I think the money is at the moment. It'll just be easier for everyone.
Yeah.
I'll even add in a little bit here because I used ChatGPT for one of my courses on fitness education online last week. It was a
Which
course
one?
on seniors. I told you this. So it's a course on training older adults. All right. And it's like a summit kind of course. So I brought in the best speakers in Australia, and they all spoke on a particular topic. But one of the simplified version, one of the speakers did a talk on like the common conditions in older adults, and she used stats, but all her stats were Australian based. All right. But I sell to people all over the world. I don't discriminate. If they're going to pay me money, I don't care what language, what religion, what race, I'll take that money. But a lot of the feedback from the course was, hey, Jono, this is a great course, but I'm in Canada. You've given me all these stats from Australia. It doesn't really mean anything to me. Hey, I'm in America. It's just, these stats don't really mean anything to me. And even some of the stats were kind of saying, hey, if you're a Indigenous Australian, you're at more risk. If you're a New Zealand Maori, you're at more risk. And I don't even think they have those cultures in America and Canada and that kind of thing. So I was like, all right, I don't want to do this whole course again, but what I'm going to do is just down the bottom under the video say, hey, the presenter's from Australia. She used Australian stats. If you're from anywhere else in the world, here are the stats here. Here's what it is in the US and Canada and New Zealand, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, right, I'm just going to go on Google and find these stats. But it was so annoying because I'm like, oh, now I've got to find it. Now I've got to source it. Now, is this right? What year is this? And also, it wasn't me. It was my virtual assistant. But I was trying to make it.
You didn't do that.
I was trying to make it as easy for her as possible. And then I was like, hold on, ChatGPT. So I simply asked it. I was like, hey, ChatGPT, can you give me the prevalence for these 10 conditions? I need the prevalence in Australia, New Zealand, USA, and Canada. And I also need you to source where you got those prevalences from. All right. And I just told my virtual assistant to do that. She plugged it in ChatGPT. Boom, there it was. It took it a while to populate, but within a couple minutes, it just had all the stats for all those conditions, and I could just upload that to the course. And they were all correct. They're all referenced. Like, that would have taken me hours.
Years.
Yeah. Well, if it was just the work, it would have taken me hours, but I just would have got so bored from doing it that I would just keep putting it off and then checking my Facebook. It would have taken me a year. So I think that's and I think that's also a really good way to use it if there's stuff that doesn't need to be personalized. If it's kind of like the module was already personalized, right? It was kind of like it was Mish that gave a really good presentation. She's a good presenter, professional, did the slides, gave the info across. The stuff that like doesn't really matter, that boring stuff, that doesn't need personality. ChatGPT is great for that. So love that. Anything else on the creation, Claudia, or should we speak about how we can also use that for marketing and to sell these courses?
I think that's all for creation.
Awesome. Yeah. All right, let's go to marketing, and maybe I'll ask you this a couple different ways, Claudia. Either like, how can we use ChatGPT to sell more online courses, or maybe even how can we just use ChatGPT to monetize our skills? Because I know you're good at. There's one thing Claudia is good at. It's making money from things that she knows nothing about. she'll know nothing about the thing, but she'll sell it. So how do we use it to make money, Claudia?
So sorry, repeat the first question.
So how can we use it to sell more courses? So say someone's a course creator.
This is like honestly another hour on
Yeah.
just the marketing. But what you can do is a lot of people just don't have a strategy when it comes to marketing a course. Would you agree? So what you can do?
Yeah. So many people listening to this podcast are going to feel heard with that thing there. They're going to be like, oh, she knows I don't have a marketing strategy just in my head. So yes,
Okay,
you're right.
so
Most course creators don't have
that's
a marketing strategy.
actually that's just not course creators. That's most business owners.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
they don't have a marketing strategy because they haven't been taught how to market. They have a great product, great course, amazing. So what I would do is the first, like, just start from the top. Okay, I have a online sales course. Can you write me a 30-day content calendar to promote it on my
Wait,
Instagram?
can I go a step before?
Yep.
Could you not even just be like, hey, I've got an online course. What are 10 popular strategies that people use for online courses? And that might populate it,
Don't do popular because it give you like stuff people do, it might not work.
Oh,
Go,
okay.
what are 10 effective improvement
Yeah.
strategies?
Gotcha.
Right?
And that
So
might
yes,
give,
like one word can just change the whole response.
gotcha. And that might be the start. And then one of those points might be like, hey, post content on Instagram.
Yeah.
Then you can go with your question. And what were you saying? Create a 30-day plan?
Can you create a 30 or 90-day calendar with a content idea every day for me to promote my course or for me to launch my course?
Yep.
Right? And hey, you might not like all the 30 days, but probably have half of it. It'll be pretty decent, to be honest.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then what you can do there is, okay, revise day 5 and revise day 8 with other options.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's one way. Right?
Wait, let me just explain that to listeners. So what Claudia is saying is, let's just use 30 days. That's an example. It populates 30 days. And let's say 20 of them are good and 10 of them are just rubbish. You can then say, hey, no offense, ChatGPT, but, numbers 1 to 10 were rubbish. Can you give me new ideas for them?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, cool.
So that's number one. And then what you can do is you can take that idea. So what it could say is, hey, write a story about, help me out here. Write a story about how
when handling an objection, write a story about how I went to sell someone and said they didn't have the money, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Write a story about how one time I had to handle a sales objection, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first prompt you can ask it, and it'll write out content for that. But in all honesty, it's gonna look pretty freaking generic, right?
Yeah,
it's just you could be like, it looks like I just copy and paste this off Google. Which, hey, if you're not doing any content right now, it's better than nothing. Yeah, for sure, post it. But how can you be more specific? Like, what can you ask it? So can I give you an example?
Yes.
Sorry, it's on my iPhone. I have a whole ChatGPT guide. Okay.
Nice. Is that the freebie that you're giving away or selling, or was that a soft sell? Okay. All right.
Okay. So, using the problem, agitate, solve framework, please write me a 300 word paragraph. I mean, not paragraph, 300 word post.
Yeah.
That identifies the most painful problems that salespeople face, which is objections faced by people that have online businesses, and agitate the issue to show why it's a bad situation, then present my sales course as a logical solution to the problem.
Gotcha. Let's spend a minute there because a lot of people listening to this won't understand that framework.
Yeah.
So there's a popular framework called the PASS, right? And that's the best copywriting formula in the world. And it's some variation of problem, agitation, solution. Most copywriters, if you were to pay a copywriter, they'll charge you a couple $1,000 and they'll just do the PASS formula and then give it to you. What Claudia is essentially saying there is, instead of paying $2,000 to the copywriter, just tell ChatGPT, hey, this is the formula. Here's the thing. Go and do it. That's what you're saying there, right?
Yeah, totally. Another thing you can do is go, hey, write a first person story as Jono Petrohilos. Use heavy dialogue and use line breaks, and then also the plot, and then explain what the plot is. Okay, Jono can't sell any courses, and then explain it, and then they'll write a story about that, and it'll be enticing to your people who look at your content. But see how that's specific. You're not just like, hey, write me 5 tips around sales. You're really telling, hey, write stories. Like, how many people are gonna, or now that everyone's like, watch this, they're probably going to put this in ChatGPT. But like, how many people are going to ask that? How many people will have the same story as you? So you just need to put like a few key things about your stories, and it'll generate a story for you.
Love it.
Like,
Okay.
it'll make something up, right?
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So there's some good ideas there. We can
Sorry?
use it. Well, there's some good ideas there. We can use it as a plan.
Yeah.
We can use it to, we can use it to give us a plan or a marketing strategy. Can use us to give us content ideas. We can use it to write that specific content. And I'm guessing that could be across a few things, right, Claudia? That doesn't just have to be your Instagram post.
Yeah.
That can be your Facebook group post. That can be your Facebook ad.
Email marketing.
Email mark. Hey,
you have to tell it what it is for, because it's smart enough to do a framework that's like perfect for a post or perfect for email campaign. It knows like the difference.
So we could even use that. We could say, hey, ChatGPT, I want to write an email selling this course here. What's a good catchy headline I can use, subject line I can use for the email? Give me 10. And then you pick the best one there. Right, ChatGPT, can you write the actual copy for the email? Tell it use the prompt Claudia mentioned before, and it will populate the email for us.
Yeah.
Probably same with a Facebook ad. Oh, do you want to?
And what you can do for that is like, okay, now can you revise this into
gotcha.
On social media?
That's
so
sick.
Now it's already learnt. It's just going to revise a post.
It takes out the insert first name. You know, whenever I do the old copy paste from the email to the Facebook group, it's always got, hey, insert first. And I'm like, damn it, they know I copied. ChatGPT will get rid of all that, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. So like, it'll get rid of all that. It'll make it like shorter, so it's perfect for Instagram caption.
You can characters, words, you can do all that.
You can be like, hey, can you include emojis in this?
Yeah, love it. I'll share a personal example, and then I want to ask you about Facebook ads, Claudia, because I think that's a cool thing, a whole nother side of things there as well. I used it a lot for blogging, and I think, and Claudia also mentioned to me, Johnny, got to be careful blogging, because if you just say a blog and you copy that exactly into Google's smart enough, and they're working on their own AI, they're going to kind of catch you, this and that. It's really good for a base though. Like I used it on something, I can't remember the blog, I wrote a heap of blogs on it, but it was something around like, how to become a personal trainer in Australia. And I plugged it in there, and like some of the data was a bit old, or like it didn't quite make, like, because the down point with ChatGPT, it's really good at general stuff, but if you're like really good, if you're really specific in a niche, it's okay, but it's not great. So let's say how to become a personal trainer in Australia. I know that inside out. I know that better than any single person in the world, right? And it's always changing because there's new colleges coming up and new subjects, and government's always changing it around. So I'm really on top of that. But I could use ChatGPT to give me a really good base, and then I could just plug and play a little bit of it to make it more current. So in terms of blogging, it's a great tool as long as you don't copy paste. But Claudia, I know you do a lot of Facebook ads. Do you use it to help you with your Facebook ads, or are you going to start using it to help you with your Facebook ads?
I've asked to rewrite copy for me, and it's done an okay job. I think it's a good base for Facebook ads, or if you get it to revise your current copy and like almost rewrite it a little bit, it's good.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't know enough about Facebook. So you have to also use frameworks like, think about if you currently do Facebook ads at the moment, think about how do you actually write the copy for the Facebook ad, like step by step, think about it, and then plug that into ChatGPT. That'll be useful. If you never set a Facebook ad, for the love of God, please don't go on ChatGPT and make it write it for you.
Oh, so you wouldn't for a beginner?
I probably wouldn't, because like, you're going to like, how do you know that's going to perform? Because you have no experience with Facebook ads. It's like me doing an email marketing campaign and never like writing an email marketing campaign. Now go ChatGPT, I copy and paste it. I'm like, oh, why does no one buy? And you'll be like, oh,
that's a good
email
point.
marketing doesn't work. But maybe it just wasn't like efficient. So I always say, I can do a lot of things, but maybe you only use it right now for the things that you don't know. You can just do quicker instead of like using it for stuff you don't know about, because it might not work. Like if you make a whole sales course and you know nothing about sales, you can have like 100 angry customers.
Yeah. And I think a good way, so to put that in perspective for the course creators, it's kind of like, and it's interesting Claudia brought that, because that's kind of her skill set. She's really good at Facebook ads. So she knows that, you could use ChatGPT, but it'd give you a pretty basic ad. It probably wouldn't even be worth it, kind of thing, right? Let's say you're a course creator, and let's say whatever it is, you teach the piano or the violin or whatever, you could go to ChatGPT and type in that, hey, teach me the piano, but it's never going to be as good as what it was with like an actual piano teacher. So I think that's how I would look at it as a course creator. Like, even though it can do all these things, it's not going to do them it's not going to do every single thing in the world at an amazing level. So I think that's just
Not yet.
not, yeah, exactly. Good point.
I know when people listen to this podcast 3 years later, it's like, Claudia was so wrong. Not yet, but I think it can get really, really good as it learns more.
Yeah.
It's learning faster than any human can. So I do think like what I say now might be completely incorrect in like 1 to 2 years as it gets out of beta stage, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So at the moment, like, it's still learning, but yeah, if you never run an ad, I would still say like, hey, probably learn how to do that first before you get ChatGPT to write it for you. But maybe if you do ads at the moment, it can do the foundation for you. You can just rewrite the 10%, or you can get copy you have and get it to rephrase everything. So it's new copy.
Yeah. Love that.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Awesome. All right. Any other marketing tips, Claudia, or are they the big 3?
It's just, again, I mentioned it with the content creation, but asking it prompts when you're marketing. So like, hey, add some subtle humor here. Do this, do that. Like, give it prompts, like ask it very specific questions, not like, hey, just write me a sales post. But like, hey, write me a story with humor, talking about these 3 key things and walk me through the solution. Like, expand more on that, right?
That's such a good point. Because I think, oh yeah, sorry, you go. No, you go.
And then when they spit out something, you'd be like, hey, now rewrite this in a 5th grade level, and in the middle paragraph, use bullet points and add some emojis.
Yeah, love that. Because I think that's the biggest argument against AI. I did a post in the Facebook group, Course Creator Facebook group, a couple of days ago, and like 90% of people are like, oh, it's sick, it's awesome, it's so good. And the 10% of people are like, nah, it's generic, it's bad, it's, I'd never do someone that does it. But I think the key from what I'm hearing you talk, Claudia, is like, if you just went and asked a generic question and it popped out a generic blog or whatever, you're right, that is crap and it's generic, but that's not how it's meant to be used. You want to make it very specific. You want to add a tone to it, whether it's funny, whether it's serious, whether it's something else. You want to add the reading grade level to it, whether it's 3rd grade, 5th grade, 10th grade, university level. And also it depends who you're selling to. Like, let's say if I was doing one for fitness education online, I need to type in there, hey, this is for personal trainers. It's not.
This is for personal trainers. It can even be more specific than that. This is for personal trainers that are around 25 to 55, right? This is the demographic it's for. Create the copy suited for these people.
Yeah, exactly. And if you do all those things there, then you're going to get something. And then, as Claudia mentioned, hey, add some bullet points in the 3rd paragraph or whatever it is. Now it's going to be different there. Then you're going to ask to revise it again. So it gets a few more changes. And then you're going to give it the personal read over anyway and be like, right, oh no, I'm taking that and I'm entering in here. So it will be very different there. So
and I always like to play with this prompt. I'm like, okay, perfect. I always say thank you because I feel like I'm working very hard. I'm not paying it. So I go, thanks. Now, can you revise this in a 2nd version that's completely different? Just to see if I like it more.
Yeah. Sick. Love it. Awesome. All right. Well, Claudia, that's pretty much all I wanted to get through today. I'm sure there's going to be a whole heap of people listening to this that are like, wow, this is awesome. And Claudia knows her stuff on it. And I need someone to kind of help me guide through it. If someone wants help with ChatGPT, yep, that's the one.
Yes.
Where do they go to reach out to you?
Social media. So Claudia _LI. L1. Claudia _L1. I don't even know my Instagram handle. So that's my Instagram handle, or I'm sure Jono will tag me somewhere.
Yeah,
I'll put business pages and stuff. I'm not a coach in ChatGPT, by the way, but like I can give you a guide and prompts that I use. So feel free to reach out. But I'm not coaching on this topic. Like I just know as much from like when it got released in December, but because I pretty much used it every day. It's cut about like 10 hours on my work week. I've coached a lot of my current clients on it because they hate writing social media stuff. Now it's saved their life. So I have really good prompts. So feel free to reach out. I can share with you like the document with the prompts or something like that. And we can talk about it because I feel like it's cool. But it's almost I know people are kind of against it, like, oh, this is just a phase, like Clubhouse and stuff like that. Remember when Facebook wasn't that great? Now Facebook is like really, really good. It's kind of like that. Like this is the first version we're seeing. Imagine like 10 versions later, this will just be the next Google.
Yeah.
Like we don't have to think, right? So be open to using it. Otherwise, like everything, we do get left behind with a lot of stuff. Yeah. Any other questions or anything to ask?
No, that's everything from me. Anything you want to finish us off with, Claudia? Anything I should have asked you but forgot to, or anything you want to finish us off with?
No, I just love ChatGPT.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks so much for having me on.
Awesome. All right, Claudia.
All right, chat soon.